So today we are talking about 5 steps to improve relationships. And, you might realize that, we have so many different relationships, right? We've got our work relationships, we've got maybe a marriage relationship, we've got relationships with our kids, with all sorts of people that are working with us. Whether we're an employer or an employee, we have relationships and we need to make them work for us. We need to make sure that they're serving us, that they're, that the experiences that we're having are feeding us, are feeding our souls, are helping us to enjoy the quality of life instead of detract from it. So a lot of times we're not showing up in relationships the way we need to be. We're not really showing up authentically. We're not showing up honestly. We're not letting people know what we need, and we're not letting people tell us what they need. We might be even a bully ourselves where somebody, they want to tell you how they feel, but they know that you might get your feelings hurt and stuff like that. So it's very possible, that we're in these relationships and we're kind of wearing a mask. I mentioned that in last week's focus, that a lot of times we're wearing a mask. We're not really showing up as our authentic selves. We're not being who we truly are. So in our relationships, if we're doing that, then each person in the relationship is kind of playing their role, trying to figure out which mask they need to be wearing, how they need to show up, what they need to be doing. So anyway, today I wanted just to tell you how to improve the current relationships that you have and how to create new relationships. So we're going to talk a little bit about whether or not, if you want to attract some ideal clients for yourself, if you want to attract an ideal spouse or partner in life, something like that, there's a certain way to go about doing that. And these 5 things really can help you shift any relationship that you're in, and they can also help you to bring better relationships into your life. So I've got some notes here, but your relationships is a real barometer for the life that you're living. So if you're not feeling good in your life, if your life isn't feeling fulfilled, if you're not feeling satisfied and happy, a lot of it has to do with your relationships, that the relationships that you are in, that you are showing up in, and how you're showing up is a huge part of it. So, we can attract better relationships to ourselves, and we can improve the current relationships that we have, and just by doing these few things. So, first of all, how we engage with others and allow others to treat us and love us, etc., has a big impact on our happiness. Like I mentioned, we teach people how to treat us, and I've said that before, and a lot of people don't like to hear that, but if you're in a relationship with somebody and you don't like the way you're being treated, a lot of times it's because you're not standing up for that yourself. You're not using your voice. You're not saying what you need. So it's really important for you to have that, awareness of, I'm allowing somebody to treat me this way. I'm allowing somebody to talk to me this way. I'm allowing them to not show up when we have an appointment, or I'm allowing them for not returning something. If it's one of your employees and you have a deadline, you say, I would like to get this back by the end of the day, and then you don't get it. And you don't do anything about it, and then the next day you don't get it, and then you're mad at them and you're having all this resentment. It's that you're allowing this, right? So you have to step up. It takes courage, and you have to, ask for what you need. You have to, in all things in life, whether it's your kids and they're not delivering the things, you've got to make sure that you're showing up and you're stepping into your power and you're using your voice and asking, say, I need this. So, obviously for children and things like that, people will say, well, there are people that have been abused and things like that. And I'm sure those people weren't teaching people how to treat them. No, I mean, obviously, but we are not victims to our circumstances most of the time in our lives. And so it's important for us to say what's not working and how can I show up differently. So anyway, in these relationships, the first thing you want to have is you want to have a clear vision for what this relationship looks like. So I'm going to use an example of if you would like to attract a partner, okay? I teach on this all the time. So let's just say that you're single right now and you would like to bring somebody else into your life. So you want to get a clear vision for what does it look like for you to be in a relationship with a new partner, with your, it's a new spouse or somebody that you're dating. What does that person look like? So you want to, and how does it feel? Like, what are the feelings? You want to know what it's going to feel like. Things like, like you feel adored, cherished, confident, you feel heard, valued, listened to. Those are the kind of things that you want to feel in a relationship a lot of times. So you want to get clear about that. Then you want to get real clear on what that person's going to look like too. So what kind of traits does that person have? Now, let's just say that you're in a marriage and you would like to improve your marriage relationship, and you're noticing that you're not really talking to each other anymore. You're not really communicating anymore. And that's really common, especially after, 20 something years, 15, 20 years. People will always talk about this, that they just don't feel like their communication's there anymore. So you have to sit down and get real clear. Make a list of 10 things that you would like in an ideal person in your marriage, for example, or, as this person that you want to date. And write this down. Now, don't think about that person, the actual person that you're married to right now. Kind of put them aside. Not that you're dumping the baby out with the bathwater. You're not getting rid of them, but you're putting them aside because right now you have a concept of what that person is capable of and who they're capable of being based on the last 20-something years or whatever that you spent time with them. So, this could go with an employee too, or an employer. You know that your boss is always going to respond this certain way. So remove that person from the, just put them over to the side and just make a list now of 10 things that you would like to have in this relationship with your boss, in this relationship with your employee. 10 ways of being, 10 things like, mutual respect, being heard, showing up on time. In a relationship, it might be, your opinion is valued. You are able to use your voice. Those kinds of things. I don't know what kind of things, whatever is going on in your relationship, you want to just put that aside and just put down, these are the things that I would love. If I were in an ideal relationship in a marriage, what would these things look like? And get clear about what are those things. Okay, then the third thing you want to do is you need to look at yourself and figure out, who do I need to be in order to have this ideal relationship, this ideal marriage, this ideal boyfriend, girlfriend, new relationship. Who do I need to be? How do I need to show up in order to attract that kind of person who's going to be respectful, who's going to value me, who's going to let my voice be heard? How do I need to show up? I need to ask for what I need. I need to set clear boundaries for what I will and will not accept. Those kinds of things. So write down a list of 10 things of yourself of how you need to be, how you need to show up in that relationship. And then number 4, you want to look for evidence that you already have it. We tend to look at our relationships and we tend to see the bad in them. We tend to always be complaining about what's not working. So we don't want that to be our reality. We want to make sure that we're looking for the good things. So sit down in any relationship that you currently have, or even looking at any relationships that you've had in the past. Look at what the good things were if you're looking for a boyfriend, girlfriend, and write down what the things are good, the things that that you showed up well, like you were dedicated, you were trustworthy, committed, all those kinds of things. Write those things down. And, so look for the proof that you're capable of having a good relationship. A lot of times people will say, well, I'm just incapable. I can't have a good relationship. I've never been able to attract the right person and I just give up. And so you putting that kind of energy out and you having that belief and telling your unconscious mind that that's going to be your reality, well, I hate to say it, but it's not going to change. So you need to get clear about what is working, how it does work for you in relationships. And then lastly, you need to schedule time on your calendar for this relationship. If you want to have an improved relationship with somebody, you need to actually schedule time on your calendar. Now, you might say, well, I don't have that ideal guy, that ideal girlfriend yet. They're not in my life. Well, that's right. You don't have them. But what you can do is schedule something in your calendar to do some self-work, do some personal development work. What do I need to do in order to attract these kinds of people to myself? How am I showing up? Am I belittling other people? Am I hurting other people? Am I being boastful? Am I being an egomaniac? Like, how am I showing up that's keeping people from being in a relationship? Now, if you want to know more about that, you can, I've got my class called Thought Pattern Perfecting Process coming up, and I teach you how to uncover what you're doing that's not working in your life. But anyway, my goal is to keep these things under 10 minutes, so that's all we have for today. Those are the 5 things you want to do. Go back and rewatch this if you came on late, and watch this and really just get clear that you can improve your relationships, but you have to show up in a different way. And, that last one, creating time for that relationship, you can actually send that person, if you have a spouse, you can be sending them kind of loving thoughts, caring thoughts. Remember that we're all souls having a human experience, doing the best we can with what we know. And a lot of times we're blaming the other guy and we're always thinking it's their problem. But a lot of times we need to look at ourselves because, everybody's doing the best they can. People don't wake up in the morning trying to make us angry, right? So anyway, I'm Kristin Tatman, And if you're interested in seeing more of my Friday Focus or anything else, go ahead and just hit the 3 icons up above and click on notifications, and you'll get more. And we'll go ahead and post something in the comments about my upcoming class that starts, I think, next week. All right, thanks for being here.